Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining in. So, Ujjwal, are you able to hear us out? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so today we are here to conduct a webinar on systemic team coaching. We stand at an interesting crossroads in organizational development where traditional team coaching approaches are insufficient for the complex challenges teams face today. Most of you either, if you're part of an organization or if you are a team coach yourself, you would be seeing this. We have today with us our client, Sona Comstar, and in a moment I'm going to introduce them to you. Ujjwal is a MCC coach and Coacharya educator. I'm a PCC coach. Both of us are team coaches, and along with as Ram, we've done this project with Sona Comstar on team systemic team coaching. Uh, Unfortunately, today Ram, Coacharya founder, who's an integral contributor who helped us to design this project and deliver three key aspects of this. He couldn't join us today. However, his influence and vision remain central to our work. So with that, just a bit of a framing on the systemic team coaching work before I introduce Ramesh and Muruga to you. Teams today exist in the Barney environments, right? I think most of you would have heard of this term Barney, which is brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. A framework that has evolved from the earlier VUCA concept, right, to better capture our current reality. Coacharya's work on team coaching is very much inspired by Peter Hawkins' work, and we also follow John Whittington's work in team coaching. So John Whittington has given this, the foundational work really reminds us of what we see in team dynamic is often just a surface expression of deeper systemic forces. And these forces include team's relationship to its purpose, the stakeholders, organizational context, and even the historical patterns that unconsciously shape the behavior. So today we have Sona Comstar's esteemed leaders with us who will share their practical experiences in bringing the systemic lens into team coaching practice. Our goal definitely today is that you leave this webinar with a little bit more understanding, given you will hear from Ramesh and Muruga the practical experience, and also Coacharya's award-winning tool, which is speed. Sona Comstar, about Sona Comstar, a quick introduction about the company. So it's a global mobility systems manufacturer. Sona Comstar is a leading supplier to the fast-growing global electric vehicle, the EV vehicle. The company operates 11 manufacturing and assembly facilities across India, US, Mexico, and China. So participants, whatever are your vehicles, there might be a chance that it has been powered by Sona Comstar. Uh, Ramesh is the HR head, motor division, Sona Comstar, and Muruga is the head R&D, the motor division. So very warm welcome, Ramesh and Muruga, and we are honored and delighted and very, very, grateful for both of you for having taken out this time. Sat, Sat Mohan Gupta, Mr. Sat Mohan, the CEO, could not join us because of work commitments, but Ram and Sat are very much integral part of this project, right? So with this, maybe a quick round of introduction, Ramesh and Muruga, and Ujjwal, if you would like to add before Ramesh and Muruga jump in before we move to the question answer round.
Yeah, thank you, Smita. I think you have covered it so well, and I would personally welcome Ramesh and Muruga and welcome everyone who invested their valuable time today. And our purpose is to showcase that how team coaching, which is backed and truly owned by the sponsors and top leaders, what sort of changes it can bring in the organization in leadership. So that's the idea, to showcase that work today, where speed remain at the center of that entire delivery. But you will hear in a case study format various experiences, what has worked, perhaps what has not worked, all of that to you in a moment. So, Muruga, Ramesh, anyone can come in, and you are most welcome to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Smita. Thank you, Ujjwal. And thanks for inviting us. And we would share our experiences, what we had with you people over the 8, 9 months of project which we did. And thanks to Murga, he also joined in despite his busy schedule. So yeah, we are all looking forward to share our experience, and hopefully it will give 2 cents of knowledge to other people as well as to how it worked, what didn't work, or and how we were benefited out of this process. Thank you, Murga.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yep.
Ramesh.
Thanks. Thanks, Smita. Thanks, Ujjwal. Yeah, thanks, Ramesh, as well. Yeah, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. I'm just seeing the participant list across India, most of the cities, as well as people from Pittsburgh, Ljubljana. It's quite impressive to see the global participation. And today we impacted by the global like no other time, and it's good to understand how each one of us can come out of this current crisis. As Smita said, during the VUCA condition right now, it is truly happening, and this is the no better time than today to talk about this program like a speed. Thanks once again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's dive in. It's just that, all of us are sitting, and before this, whenever we used to sit, we always had a bowl of cashews along with us in the room, which is what is missing because we are in the virtual environment. But nevertheless, let's get started. So, the first question, really, and any one of you can pick up, Muruga or Ramesh. Could you briefly share as to what initially, prompted you to engage with Coacharya's speed program for your organization?
Okay, I'll take that. Smita, as you are aware, but this is for more for the uh, people who have joined in from all over the world. We were a legacy company, around 25 years of experience in automotive tier one, supplying to almost all the big OEMs. And over the last 5 years, we moved into a different trajectory, and we started with EV and BSC as products, and so it started supplying to the EV OEMs. So that had brought in a few changes in the org structure, in the way we were structured. And what we noticed was there were some differences which were happening. And those differences were, when we saw it from an inside outside view, they were bringing in a few changes, and we were possibly changing as an organization, right? And for just giving you a small instance, when we were supplying for the ICE components or the ICE engines, the project lines used to be always more than 1.5, 2 years. Now it is crashed to, 6 months. The OEMs were well aware about what product they wanted, but today it was like, the OEMs themselves at times are not very sure what more they can add into as a feature. So these were things which had brought in a few uncertainties into the organization. And as I told you, EV also brought in new faculties. Earlier we were more of a mechanical kind of company. With EV coming in, there were advanced technologies which were getting added into. Software was getting added, hardware was getting added. To all that, you have a FUSA. So all of that brought in a lot of new people from different organizations, right? So suddenly what we saw was there was a set of people who were old and very senior and good amount of mechanical knowledge which was there. And here comes in over the last 3, 4, 5 years when we were strengthening our team in the EV area. They were very quite senior people whom we had hired, but they were coming from a different technology, different culture, different kind of organization, right? So to say that R&D for that matter in itself had transformed. We were say around 100 people before getting into EV. Now Muruga heads around 250 people. and that's growing year by year, and we are adding at least 50 to 100 people every year types, right? So that brought in a lot of cultural changes. There was a old versus new. There was a old way of working and a new way of working. When I say a old way of working, uh, Comstar as such has legacy from Ford. So there were many Ford processes which we were following. There was a Comstar process for PD. But when we got into new technologies, something like Spice, something like Prusa, all of that had come in. So the challenges were different, the understanding was different, and we found that there were some kind of silos which each team is bringing along with them. So we had to get to a certain level, go back and see what's different. And that difference was something which triggered all of us that let's see how can we improve uh, this in a systemic way wherein the culture gets a little different, the each other try understanding the other side of the story, and there is a little more empathy so that at the end of the day the customer is the final winner, and we have to give better products, better services to them, and there is a aha moment with them, right? So I think these were some of the things which made us realize that let's see what we can do to improve where we are today. So I think that's where we thought, let's have an external uh, agency who could help us to understand how we can integrate all of it. So that's the background which I think we started with. Muruga, anything which you would like to add?
Yep. No, thanks, Ramesh. I think you covered pretty well. There were just a couple of things to the benefit of the participants. Some of them may not be from the automotive domain. So just for a clarity, when Ramesh explained ICE engine, it is the internal combustion engine, ICE vehicles, that is with gasoline or diesel vehicles, what he meant. And electric vehicle is what the current trend. And as Ramesh pointed out, we are having various kind of experienced people as old as 50 plus years, as well as the millennial. Uh, Good population among the crowd. So you can expect the kind of expectation, the way to manage them is completely different. You can't have the kind of previous approach will work as exactly as it was. And also most of them are subject matter expert, so they are expert on their particular domain. And this will not work if everybody collaborate in the right way, in the right mix. So these are all the practical challenges certainly come on the way, because none of the project can go smoothly, as otherwise we need not be required. So these challenges with the subject matter expert to make the deadline as short as because many of the launches, as you know, the innovation cycles completely reduced for the last 100 years. The probably 4 generation back, the innovation took probably 20 years once, and then it has brought down to 10 years. Then the third level of innovation, then -2, if you could see, that would be once in 5 years. And then once every year, today you can see mobile phone, for example, or the car launches. It's tremendous. The way cut short the time, innovate the product is completely different what you can think of. So we definitely, instead of competing each other, we have to collaborate each other. And then we have inside R&D, my team, we have around 7 general managers, each are really domain expert. And then bringing them together because the product will not work. It could be due to hardware, software, mechanical, magnetics, hydraulics. It could be any particular reason why the product is not working or not functioning as intended. So we definitely need to work together, and the program like Speed is the one which gives the path where to think systematically. So that is a clear guideline objective why we went to Coacharya. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh and Muruga. There was a change that you were observing, and instead of just focusing on one or two people who you thought were, were different from the others, or because of which maybe, there was no collaboration. But instead of just focusing on one or two, you really focused on the system, so to say, for this approach. So thank you for sharing that. Ujjwal, would you like to?
Yeah, Smita, I think I will just summarize what Ramesh and Muruga very beautifully explained, and then you can take it forward to the next question. So, this whole ICE to the EV thing, from low voltage to high voltage kind of a movement. Uh, the voltage was also changing in the boardrooms, senior leaders discussion, and it was a big change that needed to be managed. Apart from the product, I think the whole mindset shift, because like Ramesh said, that all the leaders are subject matter experts, so they brought in people from, so what we am trying to illustrate is just distilling what they have mentioned beautifully. The challenge here was that here you have leaders who have spent their entire career in gasoline, petrol, diesel engines, which are internal combustion engines. And for them, EV is a new domain. Whereas they got the experts from the outside, for them, EV was a relatively slightly known domain, but they were software experts. And like Muruga beautifully said, today in a smartphone or smart car, there is hardly any difference. So you needed, the old versus new, they both needed to go through the change, not only in their mindset, but also in the way they collaborate with each other, working with egos, adjusting with egos, and also being open to move together so that Sona Comstar as an organization delivers something to OEMs, say Ford or Volvo. They are working with all big and names of India and global labels. So OEMs, some of them may not be clear, but for example, the automotive manufacturers are just assemblers. They get all their components from different people and they just put their, even their names, a Ford label also is also made somewhere. They just install it, right? So they are good assemblers. So in that, for any EV to come out, organizations like Sona Comstar have to spend sleepless nights to be able to deliver it to OEM, and then they put it in the market. So the whole change process, systemic change process, Ramesh, Mr. Satmohan Gupta, leaders like Muruga and his colleagues, they really took upon this, that, okay, let us go through the change, because I think as Coacharya, Smita, Ram, we are we are the facilitators of process, right? But for a client to say that yes, we are ready to go through the process, please come and help us, I think that was a big thing, and it is really commendable, because as all of you know, that coaching as a process is activated only when there is an intent from the client. With one client, it is fine, but here the entire organization, entire leadership's intent. And I would also like to acknowledge that Mr. Satmohan Gupta, who is MD and CEO, also participated for entire 8 to 9 months long intervention, and he had his full, the board also supported. So this is the systemic aspect. It is not about just the leaders, but board to the MD, then the colleagues, and then they went on down below to also get their teams involved. So we'll talk about it in a moment. But yeah, over to you, Smita.
Yeah, absolutely, Ujjwal. And the CEO being part of the project, just like a participant, was absolutely commendable, right? Like when he was sitting in the room with the participants, it was absolutely not someone with authority, but more like, one of
Yeah.
the participants.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So moving ahead, so the first day of Speed was sharing strengths, and Ramesh, we have seen some miracles, but we would really like for you to share in terms of the first day, which was about sharing strengths. How did you observe the leadership respond to this appreciative inquiry-based approach? And while you share that, maybe Sylvester, if you can just put the speed framework on the screen for a minute for the participants to just take a look of what we are really talking about.
Right. On the speed framework, I think one of the things which happened was, when we interact with people, they kind of say that, okay, we got into one room. That was one big thing without any, intent of work being discussed. So that was the first change for everyone, that, okay, otherwise they will be at each other's neck, or they will be collaborating as to how do we get to this thing. So getting those 18 people into a room without any business agenda was one of the big things which happened. And obviously, when the appreciative inquiry had happened, and that too, we were fortunate that Ram had run it for us. And the experiences which had come out, and I think there were, out of these 18 people, there were some old and some new. There were some facts which came out, which the others didn't know, even within the old team, right? And there were factors which had come out which we never knew, even though we were working with a relatively new people, say 4 5 years. We didn't know their own strengths which they had expressed. And one of the good part of this workshop, I would say, is also that we saw everything with a strength lens. When I say a strength lens, Ram was very clear that we should talk about the strength of the teams or the other teammates. So as the human nature goes, we try finding out something negative about the other person, right? So it was a pleasant change, it was a forced change, but each one of them saw what is the strength in others. That was one reality which was coming out. And the second was, maybe I didn't know that something which I do was being treated as a strength by someone else, right? So you feel good about it. And there is some kind of openness which comes up. Oh, okay, this is something which he thinks that is a strength for me, right? So that realization, normally no one comes and tells you that this is your strength, right? Very rarely does anyone come. So that was one thing which came out of the whole exercise. The second was, I think there was enough and open and transparent communication. So all of us could sit across, figure out what are the strengths and how could we collaborate in those strengths. So those were things which had come out, if I remember right. And there was something like a project planning which was put across by your team. So the kind of ideas which flew into I think there were 2 or 3 teams which were formed, and the number of ideas which had come in from a product perspective, what else we could do, what could we change, and things like that. It was like, all these between these 18 people, 17 18 people, the experience would have been more than 400 500 years of experience, I would say, if I take around 20 25 years of experience. So all of that experience was coming into the product planning, and the ideas which were coming up were really nice. And over a period of time, I think we discovered what are the competencies which we would like to focus other than the products and the open and transparent communication. I think these were a few takeaways for us from those 2 days of speed launch program, if I were to say so. So I think those were good. And one of the things also was, like many people came up from where they are coming from, what are their vulnerabilities, what is their family background. Uh, so there were some people who were vulnerable enough to say that, okay, mine was a very, very middle class family. I came from such and such place, but today I am here, right? Which we never know. And we think that, okay, they sit in their castles and they behave the way they behave, because all of them were general managers, vice presidents, all of it, right? So that need not do anything else except for creating a connect between one another, right? So then you understand where he comes from, what are his core values also when you are being vulnerable. So I think that was another thing which we didn't know we will achieve, but I think we achieved. We all knew where we were coming from, what was our background, and how do we connect to the new reality in which we are today. So people could be experts in their hardware domain, software domain, whatever. Like some of the facts which I didn't know about Muruga, I came to know through that, even though we were working for last 6, 7, 8 years together, right? So I think that was a big takeaway, and which never happens in your regular, work days. You
Mhm.
are you meet every day in morning meetings. Most of us meet, but those are like everyday business, what's happened yesterday, what is it to happen today, and what will be, even if it is long term, we talk about strategy for the next 5 years, but we don't talk about at a personal level, have a open and transparent communication. So I think those were some of the things which happened at least in the first 2, 3 days so that the foundation is good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even when we were wrapping up almost after 10, 11 months, the first day was very fondly, remembered. And for technical leaders who are mostly, cognitively doing work, tapping into the emotions is not very easy. And that was the first time. But really, after one after the other, we could just see that how deeper the conversations and the sharings were going in there. So Ramesh, you are from the HR and also a coach, so for you to tap into emotions, I'm sure is not so hard. But Muruga, I want to ask you, like, what was your feeling when you had to share strengths and talk about yourself?
Yeah, no, I would say it's a fantastic opportunity to express. Initially, I had a two thought whether to tell or not to tell, because it was, some of them are really people, I'm sure most of my colleagues not aware of my background. So I started explaining that. So that's one portion of it. I still remember that day how it was. The program went well. At the end of it, we see each other totally different than how it was the previous days. So that was the thing. And definitely the collaboration, the collaborative work, it if you bring the emotion factor, if you bring the empathy, if you bring the human factor, it's totally different. Certainly, it improves a lot on the work. Every human being, you have both the strength and weakness, and we rarely see the strength, because we, in a work environment, we always talk about the challenges, we talk about the problem. That's where we have to solve and then move on, right? So there, less time for talking about the strength, more on the weakness, trying to each other why, what went wrong at a different point in time, a different person, etc. So this program on the first day helps to uh, understand the strength of others. Okay, so my colleagues, when they talk about strength of everyone, including myself, it brings me a lot of happiness. And then, oh, with this person, I was behaving like that in the past, so I have to change myself, right? So that's kind of, that's not only for me, that's happened to everyone. And also everyone's strength. Some of them, many of us did not aware of it. So those things have come out through somebody else. So this certainly at the end of the program, the bonding among ourselves really improved a lot. And the program started very well on this topic, which really matters a lot. Thank
Yes.
you.
So the objective of this is to connect with each other beyond the identity cards, right? And we could very well see that happening. Ujjwal, you want to go with the next question?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I can say that Muruga talked about Bond. So I can say that though there was no James around, but Bond still remained. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, my question to you would be, of course, you have spoken to about it, Muruga, about the improvements that you have noticed, and maybe we can talk about the sustenance of it. But one thing that I can mention that what improvements we had noticed. Can I mention that?
Yeah,
Please.
sure.
Yeah, so apart from there was a visible, connect, a lot of informal touch with each other and discussion also focusing on the specific issue, not hitting the person, not blaming the person. But one of the things that we were, so I asked Ramesh that, are you running a manufacturing organization or are you a five-star hotel? Because the way the hospitality was provided was par excellence. So, we were provided with as Smita mentioned, bowl of, cashews and very, very nicely roasted cashews. So they were not roasting each other, but they were roasting cashews and giving it to us. And as our month by month sessions progressed, what we saw that there was less issues on the table, more cashews on the table. But once we complete the day, it used to be 3 to 4 hour session. There used to be no issue left to discuss because the resolution was done and there was no cashew left in different bowls. So that was the measurable measure of success for us, and that was seen on weighing scale as well. Because every time Smita and I come back, we used to go for diet, but at the end of 8 months, both of us gained about 2 kgs of weight. All credit goes to the wonderful hospitality, right? So, but if in case you want to mention anything about any improvements that you have noticed over a period of time and anything which is sustaining even now, because now it's more than a year that we completed this project with you, but how it is even seen today. So if you want to kind of mention, like I see these days, I'm losing a lot of hair. So I'm seeing those ads, So first, you have less hair and then before and after. So then all those hairdressing clinics, hair transplant clinics. But yeah, in case you want to mention anything about.
Murga, you would like to take.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly, Ujjwal, it helps a lot and it continue to help us a lot. As I said, the looking at positive side of the person for the better collaboration. And once you start looking at the positive side, we continue to look at the positive side more and more. It's kind of momentum picks up, and we started seeing changes, visible changes among the team. Uh, it's I would say teams. It's not just within R&D. When Ramesh talked about 17 senior level team members, it's outside R&D as well. Senior people from manufacturing, purchase, supplier performance engineering, quality, customer support, HR. So as an organization, we definitely need a better collaboration, and we started seeing it, and we continue to see it. And visible fact is the lead time to deliver the product, lead time to solve the problems significantly reduced. We are seeing it, and we started using it on multiple projects where some of the learnings, like look for the alternatives, look for the where we need to delegate, where we need to focus more, where we need to be more aggressive. All were very well explained on the program at a different stage of the this 8 9 months program. All those learnings, certainly we use it at the right place, which gives us the uh, benefit to the organization. Ramesh, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think those were the good ones. And one of the things which I think I have also observed is since there was an open communication, even dissent used to come onto the table, right? Earlier, the dissent was something which people will not agree, but they will not put it on the table so that the others can understand. So today the situation is possibly if there is a dissent, if there is a point of view which is not in line with the others who are expecting. People are not, I would say, shy away from putting that dissent on the table and say that no, meaning I understand all of that, but this is my challenge. So that was not forthcoming earlier, possibly to that extent. They will do this in their actions, but they will possibly not communicate about this openly on the table for whatever reasons. There could be a fear, there could be there could be any other emotion. I'm not too sure about that emotion, but I think that's another thing, because I always feel, or we always feel, that when you have a problem and you put it on the table, then it becomes a solvable problem. And if you go out of the meeting room and you twitch and turn in your chairs and you don't want to, the work will not happen, and the others will also not understand why that is not happening. So I think that's in addition to what Muruga has said. I would like to add that aspect as well.
Sure. Wonderful, thank you. So, two things really stand out for us in terms of the measurement that you have seen. One is the ripple effect of this, not just with one, but the entirety of the teams that Muruga spoke about. And then earlier, the communication was only when it is about good things, only that has to used to come to the table. But now, even if of any difference of opinion, that is absolutely kind of brought to the table. Great. So, just moving ahead, Ramesh, you and I, and along with Ujjwal, Ram, Satsar, from the first day, what we were really talking about is how to move the leaders from the silo mindset to the collaborative mindset. So, this was one of the main objectives. What is your observation of that as of today? This project was started somewhere in 2023, and now here we are in 25. Like, what are you seeing in terms of your observation moving from silo to collaborative? You've given bits and pieces, some examples already, but is there anything that you would like to elaborate?
Yeah, so when we had started to plan along with you people, I would say there is a substantial improvement in silo to collaborative working. There are processes which we have brought in, wherein the silo working can be turned into collaborative working. And people like Murga are still bringing in a few more, like PLM is something which he's trying to bring in to the whole R&D, right? So there are process improvements which we are still working on, and that needle has certainly moved from a point where we wanted to reach to. But there are a couple of other things which we also wanted, and it's so with this program happening for the leadership, we wanted the other set of team also coming in for the similar kind of program, so that it can be cascaded down the line as well. So for some business reasons, we could not take that up. And I think one of the other things also was that we wanted one-on-one support wherever it is required post this team, this thing. I think we have missed on that as well. But yeah, over a period of time, we would like to have both of these things coming in into our structure, so that there is a cascade to the next levels, right? That's one. And second is, I think there is a much better synchronization between the legacy teams and the advanced technology teams, because as we move, it becomes more and more important that validation gets done at both the ends, right? And I think there is a movement which has been certainly there. Have we arrived? I think we are yet to arrive. Meaning that's something which it's a process, and we have started our journey, is what I would say. Anything you want to add, Muruga, on this?
No, I think uh, covered pretty much. As we explained in the past, product like ours, where the multidisciplinary uh, subjects involved, and this silos was one of the critical factor we did face in the past. It has reduced to a significant level. I can't say it is 100% eliminated, but it has come to a very good level on the collaborative work from the silos stage. That is certainly at the outcome, one of the key benefit what we got it. That was one of the key objective as well. Uh, as uh, Sorry to repeat again, the everyone is a subject matter expert, and the team, the experience, and many of them are hard molded because of 30 plus years experience in the industry, and many of them are just fresh from the college. So we have a crowd of every age. So the in this environment, collaborative working is very important, and this breaking the silos between the hardware, software, motor, functional safety, cyber security, or magnetics. So that is most important. And even outside R&D, the silos manufacturing work differently, or purchase work differently, because the objective of R&D is totally different than what easily achievable by the supply team, easily manufacturable by the manufacturing team, because anything can be possible in the CAD or in the software, but once you start productionizing, you get a hell lot of problems. So it is definitely a challenge. It will start naturally silos getting built up. Breaking that to a large extent is very important, and we did see some success out of this program.
Mhm.
Wonderful. One of the things I very distinctly we've seen that Rameshu spoke about formally having the next layer to go through this program, but during the course of that program, these functional heads are actually involved their team members. So though formally there was no program happening, but informally the team of teams, so to say, was already formed, and it the cascading effect had already started then itself.
Yes. See, what happens is if I was in the program, I can actually cascade it to the next level of mine, right?
Mm.
But if as an organization, and I see a question from someone on that as well, where Ujjwal will respond on from his expert standpoint, but I may not be able to reach to the next levels, right? So it gets bonded, or it becomes a habit and a thing when you start cascading it. So when you have the first line who is behaving who was say behaving in a certain way, and they are changing because of this program to a certain way, that change can be seen by the next line of people, and they will also start behaving in that ways. Yesterday maybe I was saying no to something. Today I'm, before saying a no or a yes, I'm trying, everyone of this group would be at least trying to understand what is the other person asking. Is it logical? Should I say yes or should I say a no? So that would have been the change on the people who attended this program. And this will be very clearly visible to the next line who is working with us closely within my team, within Muruga's team. So when they see that the leader is performing the job in a different way, trying to understand it in a different way, they also start behaving a little differently and they try going along with the leader. Now, if this exercise would have been done to the next level of people, the next level, which is reporting into them, also would start feeling the difference in the way we have felt between the teams. So that's one thing which I would put across, and I think Ujjwal also would want to add to. One person had asked this
Yeah,
question: How is it?
Vinita has a question there on the chat.
Yeah. Yes.
Ujjwal, are you able to see the question to read out? Or I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah, sure. So Vinita, in fact, has asked a couple of questions. And I think some part Ramesh and Muruga has already covered. But what Vinita wanted to ask that when there is a delay on one or percolating it down, how would it sustain the behavioral change like silos to collaboration? So in some way he has addressed it, but I'll also give my perspective, being an observer of Sona Comstar leadership team and couple of layers below. She also asks, curious to know how this has improved the innovative mindset along with building generational gap on seamless communication. Okay, so yeah. So first thing maybe Muruga can ask because he's an R&D leader, so innovative mindset maybe he can touch upon. But to respond to Vinita and all of us who are here today, that's the whole process of sustenance. So what has happened is that this also, I think Yagyanika asked Smita, you can describe a little bit about the framework of speed, but also to give a perspective and then weaving my answer to Vinita's questions. So generally, how this interventions framework was that we started with a 2-day workshop, primarily focused on first 2 or 3 steps of speed process, where the primary intention during this 2-day workshop was to get them to align with each other and also align with the organizational objectives. And so much so that for that, if they need to sacrifice their opinions or beliefs or grudges against each other, are they ready to? So to building that readiness and goal alignment and vision alignment was the core focus. So that was done. And then every month for next 8 months, Smita and I visited. This is not a standard 2 hours team coaching. We spent almost 4 to 5 hours and 4 to 5 kgs of cashews in total over 8 months. But the whole process, the entire leadership team would come together and we will discuss because at the end of every session, there used to be an action plan for them to at 3 level, for them to do it by themselves, for them to do it with their teams, and for them to do it within this leadership team, which was getting coached together. So at 3 layers, the actions were there. We will first, about 1.5 hour, we'll only review those actions and what has come up. And from there, before diving into the current session. So during that time, the behavioral change process generally it takes 8 to 9 months, especially when you also have to deal with a lot of changing outside dynamics, market, customer requirements, specifications changing, all of that where we were witness to. But during those 8 months, they didn't wait for program to get over and then start working with the teams below. Like Ramesh said, that they actually every leader created their second line and also one more line below so that they were mini I'm forgetting the word what used to call them squad or something. I don't remember that. But there used to be people who will who were identified as change agents type of people, and they would pick it up and start making changes to the organizational system. Yeah, I acknowledge that due to macroeconomic environment and headwinds that you see in the automotive industry, geodynamics globally, the sustenance couldn't be done. But what I am sensing from Ramesh and Muruga is that at a micro level, the change is still happening somewhere, although we are not there. They couldn't continue with the successive layers. But yes, it is not died down. That's what I am believing. Maybe Ramesh and Muruga can confirm.
Yeah, and to confirm, maybe we before Muga adds in, possibly we would like to have that as and when it is
Yeah,
possible,
yeah.
so that
But even
it
without
becomes.
us, in some or the other
Yeah,
way, that movement is continuing, right?
I think so. Muga, you want to add anything else?
Now, the couple of points. One is the how do you kind of ensure the next level people are collaborating each other, because the first level people got trained or the senior leadership got trained. One of the primary, I would say, the way organization work, if there is a good understanding at the senior level between the departments, naturally you tend to align at the next level and then the next level. So the most of the issues comes only if there is not good understanding at a senior level. So certainly it helps once you have a good understanding. Then you start one more questions is that whoever got trained, are they become a trainer for the next level? The answer is yes. May not be as good as the Coacharya what we could able to train them, but we are doing it. We are trying to pass it on some of the learnings, some of the good lessons out of this program to the next level, and probably to the next level. So that whenever the meetings, whenever the department meetings, whenever the offsites, business offsites, whenever we have the opportunity to talk to the people, many of the things formally or informally getting cascaded. So certainly that is happening for sure, number one. And number two, there is a CFT approach, cross-functional team approach to the next level and the next level, say for example, engineer level or the manager level, where the team formed among the different functions, what we call CFTs. So that cross-functional teams work more collaboratively. And if there is any kind of decision to be taken, certainly the senior level people come in handy and then take the or support the team to come out of the problem. So that is something we are doing it, number one. And number two, one questions I'm seeing how the gap between the senior most people as well as the junior most people, how they collaborate, how what you are doing to make work together. So that is certainly some challenges because as I said, we do have many people, many engineers fresh from college, he or she, how well they understand the industrial aspect of it is one practical challenges. And also because being the nature of the industry, we have an equal amount of people who worked on the mechanical industry or a typical industrial environment, and we do have a big chunk of people coming from the software industry or the IT industry, where the embedded software or the coding or the software validation or the functional safety or cyber security. So we do have a good amount of people work from that kind of tech centers. So it is not a very easy to have bring everybody together on the particular alignment, but that is something once you touch upon the human aspect and then talk about the strength. This is beyond the subjects, beyond the domain, which certainly helps to bring it together. So this is we do face challenges once in a while, but no, it's we are successfully coming out of it.
Wonderful.
The best part, I think, of this project was any change can be done only top down, and it really started with N-1. Alka has asked a question here. Did you ever see any derailers given the fact that work pressure must have been so high and the silo working may give them a feel of quick result versus collaborating? Right? Do you want to take this?
Yeah, I will start. Maybe Ramesh can add. The answer is yes. If I say no, that's not the correct one. So we do face challenges. In fact, one of the project which we identified as stage one, that we will take it up this project for this program. But considering the time taken for the proper going ahead in the 8 to 9 months, certainly customer not ready to wait. So we have to forcefully switch over to another project where we can do it in the systemic way. Having said that, it's not the first project we have not followed the system. We did follow the system, but to cut short to what customer expectation to meet that deadline, we did follow hybrid approach, I would say. Some of the learnings out of this program, as well as some of our traditional approach, what we normally used to do. So it did happen. And I do remember we did postpone one of the session where we scheduled a particular day with Coacharya, but we are forcefully to move to, I think, a week to 2 weeks, that program itself, because of the time pressure. So the answer is yes, we did face challenge on the go.
Mhm.
Ramesh?
Yeah, I think th- all the leaders used to give me a horrid time, getting all the 14, 15, 16 people into one room. And unfortunately, fortunately, Smita and Ujjwal are also very, very busy. So they will give me two dates. So there used to be a lot of toggle. But yeah, I think from a standpoint of the organization and the management, I think the top man wanted it to happen. So even though there were some delays, I remember there was a time when we could not do it the next month, and there was a gap of 2 months because you people were busy when we were free. So something like that. So it lot of administrative work also goes through. People like Murga would be in two shoes, but somehow because the whole team would be inside the room, they just can't come out of the room. There are enough and more derailers which can be there, but I think as a team we understood that this is important that we do, and we used to manage uh, those 1 or 2 days to see to it that we are here in the program as much as we can, and then we used to attend afterwards for the other things. So there are times, but as they say, the show must go on. So it went off, but there were a lot of backroom manipulations and maneuvering which I had to do to bring in people, all the senior guys at one time, because there are customers who are waiting for them. There are many things which are waiting for them. So yeah,
Travel.
there were enough and more derailers, I would say.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. We thank you. Then we are again thanking you. Just one, we'll have one more, time for just one question. I know, audience, you've put some questions here in the chat box. We've not been able to answer all. We will download this and definitely reach out to you with the answer. So just one last question before we wrap up, Ramesh and Murga. So based on the experience of the program, any recommendation to the organizations who are listening to us today?
Okay, I'll take this. I think what I would say is when we are into the organization and we see every day the same functions going through the same rigmarole, I think we need to have that insight to come out of it for 2 feet away and see what's going on actually. And if you have that vision and you are able to see that there's something different which is happening, I think that should be the first bell which should be ringing in our minds. And once we see that, what is it which we want to achieve at the end of it, that clarity should be there. And when you have that clarity, there should be a project or a goal which is large enough for you to work upon. And that's where people like you can come in and say that, okay, this is the vehicle on which you want to travel, and you want to test all the, uh, I would say, the medicines, the prescription which you give, that okay, and of course, as we say, all of that is only suggested by us. That's how you kind of work towards it. Coaching is very, very different way of approach. So when you have a project and you have a goal and you are able to see that possibly we are not in the best of the shapes, because accepting that is the first reality which we have to crack upon. So once that all these two, three things are there, I think uh, one should possibly go ahead. And as I told you, we are also waiting for the right time to do for the next level of team so that this cascades down much better. So I think that's the short answer which I would give. And we have moved ahead of the time. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramesh, and thank you, Muruga. It was wonderful to hear you and of your experience of this process of speed. Lot of uncomfortable things came up while in the journey, but all of the leaders really embraced that. It took some time, but by that could happen. We could see that people came up at the end of it saying, maybe it was my ego, maybe it was something else, but at the end of it, you could see some success. So thank you, and thank you for joining us today. Ujjwal, anything as last words before we wrap up?
No, absolutely. Thank you, Smita. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My personal gratitude to Muruga and Ramesh for coming in today. And to discuss how to cascade it to the teams, we'll connect on Microsoft Teams. So,
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you.
Thanks,
See you.
Thanks.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good
Thank
day.
you.